The issue surrounding Hyogo Prefectural Governor Motohiko Saito. A third-party investigative committee was established to investigate the leak of what was said to be private information regarding a former Hyogo Prefectural Government Bureau director, who exposed an issue involving Governor Motohiko Saito. This information was leaked through platforms such as Takashi Tachibana's social media in November last year. However, it was later revealed that the committee had actually been instructed by the prefectural government to investigate the source of a Shukan Bunshin article. This has sparked criticism as an attempt to exert pressure on the press. Lawyer Kyosuke Nishiwaki, former head of TV Asahi's legal department, pointed out, there is a possibility that the establishment of this committee itself is illegal. Image: a photo with Governor Saito, actual post by a female president of a PR firm. It has come to light that the prefectural authorities attempted to use a third-party committee to trace the source of Shukan Bunshin's critical article about Governor Saito. This revelation has caused widespread shock. Amid the controversy, Kobe Shimbun reported yet another unbelievable fact. The prefectural government's request to the committee to investigate the source of the Shukan Bunshin article was kept secret from the prefectural assembly. Meanwhile, the assembly had approved a budget of 12 million yen for the investigation by two committees related to the information leak. In other words, under Governor Saito's administration, the prefectural government secured an investigation budget while concealing the fact that it was secretly investigating the source of the Bunshin article. Why was the prefectural government able to do this? The answer lies in a loophole in how the committee was formed. Normally, when a prefecture creates an investigative committee of external experts, it should be established through an ordinance approved by the prefectural assembly. As Japan is a democracy, it is natural that the elected assembly should control the administration through ordinances. This system, called ordinance-based governance, is necessary to prevent governors or other officials from creating investigative or review bodies arbitrarily and going rogue. The Local Autonomy Act also stipulates that the establishment of bodies such as investigative committees requires a law or ordinance. Had Hyogo Prefecture followed this proper procedure for its third-party committee, the assembly would likely have noticed the nature of the investigation in advance. However, the third-party committees related to the Governor Saito issue, including the one tasked with tracing Bunshin's source, were all established without such ordinances. This raises questions about whether the move violated the Local Autonomy Act. When Prefectural Assemblyman Eiichi Ueno raised this point at a session in February this year, the prefectural authorities responded with the following explanation. The prefecture individually concluded investigation contracts with each committee member recommended by the Hyogo Bar Association. The investigation was thus entrusted individually to each member, they said. The investigators act as individuals, not as an organized body, so the nature of a formal committee does not necessarily apply. In other words, the prefecture claims it simply contracted individual lawyers who happened to work together, and since it didn't formally create a committee, no ordinance was needed. However, isn't that just sophistry? While other prefectures have used similar arguments, such attempts have often been judged illegal in court. For example, in December 2023, Aichi Prefecture was sued by residents after it established a committee without an ordinance to review the Aichi Triennial exhibition, which sparked controversy over the statue of a comfort woman in the non-freedom of expression exhibition. The Nagoya High Court ruled this committee's establishment illegal, stating that a committee investigating specific matters cannot be formed without an ordinance. The Japan Federation of Bar Associations also clearly states in its guidelines for third-party committees that using individual contracts with lawyers as an excuse can be seen as an illegal way to sidestep legal requirements. Is the judiciary the only one that can correct this situation? From this standard, the committee of lawyers convened to investigate the truth regarding the leak of investigative information by the former head of the Prefectural Citizens Bureau, who filed a complaint against Governor Saito, cannot logically be established without a proper ordinance. This issue has been raised multiple times in the Hyogo Prefectural Assembly. In March of this year, LDP Assemblyman Taketoshi Nagaoka pointed out that it may violate the Local Autonomy Act and explained the reason why such a committee should not be established without an ordinance. Greater than, it is to prevent the abusive establishment of organizations by executive bodies and to ensure democratic control by the assembly over such establishments. However, in Hyogo Prefecture, this idea of democratic control was ignored under questionable logic, and a taxpayer-funded search for the source of a Shuken Bunshin story began without the Assembly's knowledge. Isn't this precisely the kind of abusive establishment of an organization by the governor and others that threatens democracy? At the governor's regular press conference on the 9th of this month, questions about this issue were raised. However, Governor Saito repeatedly responded as if it were someone else's problem, saying, the personnel division handled it appropriately. Distortions in prefectural governance are growing day by day, yet the top official shows no sign of self-reflection. Perhaps only the judiciary can now correct this situation. Kayasuka Nishiwaki, born October 5, 1970, in Uchiho City, Chiba Prefecture. Passed the bar exam in 1992 while studying at the University of Tokyo Faculty of Law. After completing legal training, he joined TV Asahi as an announcer in April 1995. He worked on programs such as News Station, Yajima Wide, and Wide Scramble. In 2007, he was transferred to the Legal Affairs Department, where he handled both internal corporate issues and external criminal cases, winning acquittals in cases involving forcible indecency and violations of the Stimulants Control Act. In March 2023, he won a defamation lawsuit against international political scientist Ruri Miura. In June, he published Solitary Battle: The 1345 Days of the Ruri Miura Trial, Gentosha. In July, he was promoted to head of the Legal Affairs Department, but resigned voluntarily from TV Asahi in November due to his continued investigative reporting into the Kahara incident. That same month, he established the Kayasuka Nishiwaki Law Office. At the end of April last year, he launched the YouTube channel Kayasuka Nishiwaki Channel.